Okay, in this video, I'm just going to show you how I made more take home than ever in my entrepreneur career. And it's getting better and better, but actually intentionally made less the month after and the month after. If you're new to this channel, I help businesses grow with better operations and installing something that we call a C-suite system. But in short, the other month we profited the most we've ever had. And the next month and the next month, you can see I intentionally slow it down so I can take what we did and learn from it and better install it so that we can have more sustainability over time. And that's what I'm going to go over today. I'm going to teach you a couple things. I'm going to show you meantime my calendar as well, because the problem I've had in the past is that I've made really good months and then I drop after and I don't know how to get back up. And I see this often with my clients and I see how they panic too. Okay, so the most interesting part here is that we didn't do any launches. It was consistent cash flow at about 80 to 90% margins. Just to give you a clue of how that stands within our clients. My client with the lowest margin has 70%. One of the things that I encourage all my clients to do, and I encourage you to do as well if you have a high ticket service, is you always take as a minimum 50% down of your total cost. So for example, if you sell something that's 20K, take at least half of that up front, and then whatever it is that's remaining, you can do a payment plan. That's something that I encourage all of my clients to do. It was the most interesting part here, as you can see from profit, our best month yet. And then this is actually interesting. We're in May when I'm filming this, and we actually did this. So this is up here now. May was up here now, which is what I said was going to happen, and it did happen. When it comes to learnings for this, when you intentionally slow down, things just get a lot easier and growth becomes easier, because one of the things you realize is that growth is not always just revenue. Growth can come with many different things. The thing with mature business owners is that once you have a really high profit month, you can take time to slow down a little bit and grow in other areas, not just chasing leads. For example, if we go into here, you learn how to fulfill and not become supply constrained. Meaning, if you want to have a higher month as well and you're supply constrained, you can't take more clients. Cool thing with this is that 3 of my clients are actually fully booked. They can't take more clients right now, and they've made the most amount they could make based on where they're in business at the moment. So I had to teach them this specifically. You have to slow down. We have to slow down. We can't take more clients, because if we take more clients, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're going to hate what you're doing, because you're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to be answering messages all day, and you're doing a disservice to your clients as well coming in, because you don't have the power to just supply your service. So you're supply constrained. So when this happens, you learn how to become less supply constrained. You learn how to fulfill the clients are in. You learn how maybe you can hire somebody else to do the things that you're doing. You learn how to do the things that you're doing very well, create SOPs, etc. There's a bunch of stuff here. You can move your energy and focus into a lot of fulfillment. This is what I encourage all of my clients to, and all of those that are fully full with a roster, is let's slow down on client acquisition and let's increase our client retention by making sure they get a good service. They get what we promised them we're going to give them. So all of that energy, rather than chasing leads, is working in the business. We can afford to do that now because we made a lot of cash, which is great, and making sure that we fulfill. The key here is if you're growing. So this happened with businesses in 100K months, 20K months, and in between, all over. If your goal is to hire, then you can learn what are the things that you're going to hire out. If you're not planning to hire just because you're not at that size yet, you learn how to fulfill your product and make your product better, so that the next time comes, if you're solo, you can just do a better job at it. If you have team members, you can take the time to train your team better and work in the business. Something that I want to make very clear is that growth is not always like that. It's going to be exactly like this graph. It's going to be up for a certain time, and then once you get to a plateau, you can take more clients, or you're training somebody new, you can take more clients. You're training a seller, you're training a closer. It's okay to have a plateau. And then maybe revenue is going to go down because you're not collecting cash. But in this time here, you're collecting learnings. You're making sure you're training your team better, and you're growing in other areas. It doesn't always have to be revenue, and that's completely fine. How to always grow despite of revenue slowing? Couple things. One, operate from constraints, not capacity. What this means is I used to always ask myself, what else can I add? Okay, I made this much. What else can I add to make things better? That's the worst thing you can do for your business. You're gonna hate your life. Now I ask, and I encourage my clients to ask, what can you subtract so that I can scale faster with less? Give you one example. One of my clients was doing weekly meetings. The one thing that we implemented after filling the entire program, he was supply constrained, and we learned that we can give the same results, if not better, if he met with clients less. So it's not about adding more to the program. It's how you can create the same results or better by giving out less. And that's something you can apply this with many different things in your business, not just like meetings with clients. But it's not what you can add, but what you can subtract and still have a great product. Number 2 is clarity is a daily discipline, not something I do every single quarter. One of the things I implement is I built a 5-minute morning habit. This is based on a book called The One Thing. I urge you to read it. And it's basically every Sunday I say, okay, for the next week, what is the one project that's going to help me move the needle forward? One cool thing that one of my mentors told me is if we split the year in 52, which is 52 weeks, and every week we focus on one project, it potentially means that we can build 52 different projects in a year rather than doing a monthly project or a quarterly project. That requires a lot of discipline and that requires a lot of clarity. One of the things that I'm going to urge you to do is every single week, create one thing. What's the one thing I should just focus on so that I can move my business forward? For example, for me this week, it's just content. It's creating this stuff because I know for a fact that people that I jump on sales calls with, they're watching these videos and they understand that they can implement this stuff in their business and they can grow. Number 3 is if you don't proactively design your time, you reactively spend it. I think this is huge, especially if you're a business owner and you have a lot of different parts. One of the things I focus a lot with my clients is we build their calendar. I know it sounds so stupid. For me, I have a rule. I have a cardinal rule. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. Literally, I have flights, trips, vacations, meeting with friends. Literally, like with my friends, I sometimes say, hey, let's do a call on Saturday. I put it on my calendar because if it's not, I won't do it. I was making emotional decisions because I had no structure. I time block my energy, not just for tasks, for calls, but for stuff like this. This is super easy. You just have to be very disciplined with it. This is how my calendar works, but make sure you do this with your calendar. This is the simplest thing that you can do right now with your time is making sure you do this. And every week you do a one thing project. When it comes to having really good months is if you're a beginner, you have to understand that you don't need 1,000 different offers. I know currently we're seeing a lot of things in like the low ticket community. You have to have low ticket, you have to have high ticket, medium ticket, you have to have an ebook that you charge. You don't need that. Honestly, you just need one good offer because the more things that you have, the more noise. One common misconception that I see out there is a lot of people think that just because you have a low ticket school group and a high ticket, then you're fine. Like that's the golden rule. They don't realize that having a low ticket school group sometimes can be more demanding because people who pay less ask for more usually. So if you have a low ticket product, that's still an offer that you have to babysit. In my opinion, I think for you at least is, and even for, I have coaches in my program that are making 500K. They have one offer that feeds into like a similar offer that just requires more time of the owner. 2 offers. That's it. No low ticket school group, nothing like that. In fact, I just recently shut down my low ticket school group because it just makes no sense. I'd rather just have people coming through my consulting container and that's it. So it's doing them a better service because I can service them better and I'm not wasting my time trying to go into like a low ticket group. Number 2, my business flipped when I stopped chasing more and started executing less and better. The one thing, read that book. That's all I have to say. And when it comes to stuff like this, my biggest project right now is creating more content, become more valuable for people, and be able to have the time to focus on what I need to do later, which comes into the one thing, what I can do to service my clients better. So I batch my content, which I'm literally doing now. My client calls are specifically in just one time or one block a day. And I have clarity sessions, which are usually Sundays. Right now, after I had my best month yet, I know what I did to get there. I proved myself right because I knew I was going to end up April here, which we did. So right now is what are the things I need to focus on? For me right now is generating more attention and authority and brand building in the market, which is one of the 3 segments that I teach my clients and I preach all about. It's attention, it's liquidating that attention, and I make sure I have the operations and the systems to keep growing what I'm doing right now. If you made it this far, click the video that's in this video right now. That's going to teach you about the 3 different buckets in business that you need to grow to make sure that you can scale: attention, liquidation, and operations. So click that. I'll give you everything, all the sheets, all the processes, everything that you need to implement to make sure that you can grow your business. So for now, I'll see you on the next one.